Hi, my Cancer friends. This is a What Does Spirit Want You to Know reading. It is just that, exactly whatever it is they have to say to you. I'm going to lay it out in the form of a Celtic cross and let them have their way with this message. It's not going to have any specific topic. It's just going to be what they want to say. So we're going to get right into it. God, guides, angels, archangels, Holy Spirit, I thank you so much for the tarot as a tool. I thank you that you still like to speak to us. And I thank you for the messages that you bring forth through this Celtic cross for clear and concise messages, clarification, confirmation, validation, and love, light, and prosperity. What is it that you want Cancer to know? Okay, guys, current energy. 7 of Pentacles. What's crossing you is the Empress. Underlying energy, the World. Recent past, the Hanged Man. Your crowning energy, Page of Swords. What's coming in the near future? Ace of Wands. What is your attitude in relation to all of this? The Star. Outside influences, 5 of Pentacles. Hopes and fears, 7 of Wands. And outcome, the Devil. Okay. Don't get freaked out by the devil. Okay, so we're going to start out with your current energy is the 7 of Pentacles. So it's like you have had your hand on something and you've been working on it, and you're now at a place where you're being patient, waiting on divine timing. Whether it's something you've physically been working on, whether it's inner work you've been doing, or whatever, it's like you're looking for those results. But you're also aware that everything comes in divine's time, right? You also are being very contemplative about this pentacle down here. This, I don't see it necessarily as a pentacle that has gotten ripe and fallen off the bush. You can look at it that way. I see it as you're trying to decide where to place this energy. What's going to be the most productive, the most fruitful place to focus your energy next while you're waiting, okay? What's crossing you is the Empress. Now, this is the crossing card can be something that pushes you forward or something that pulls you backwards. And this, I feel like the energy is a little bit of both, because the Empress is very fertile, right? She can take something from here and birth it into reality. She can make it something tangible. So it's like she's a mover and a shaker of sorts, right? So she kind of wants to go forward, but she kind of knows she needs to wait on that divine timing, which is where your energy is. It's like you're trying to stifle the desire to keep moving forward at this point. All right, so what is the underlying issue is the World. You've completed some kind of cycle in your life. I'm going to go back to this, whatever it is, you finished planting it, whatever it was, the inner work you did. You've completed some sort of cycle in your life, and it's like you're at that point where something new is about to happen in your world, Cancer, and that's a really exciting place to be. Your recent past is the Hanged Man. So this is kind of like, it's kind of like the Hermit, except that it's not necessarily that you went into hermit mode on purpose. Like something might have shut you down in the recent past, and you were like on a pause that you weren't comfortable with or whatever. You felt like you were suspended in midair. There was no movement. And it also, this card calls you to look at things from a different perspective. So it's possible that in the recent past you started really like maybe detaching yourself from situations emotionally so that you could look from like a 10,000 foot up view and see things from a different perspective instead of seeing things from a mental body or emotional body perspective. In other words, you took yourself out of the equation somehow and looked at things differently. Okay, so the crowning energy. Whenever I talk about the crowning energy, for me, this is your higher self and your guides and your angels, whoever it is that you work with in your spirit team, right? So you've got this truth. It's a new truth for you. It's a new understanding, and it's a message that you want to be able to communicate. The swords are all about mental things, communication, truths, understandings, sometimes mental conflict, but that's us doing that to ourselves. But this is what this is. It's a new understanding of something, some kind of new wisdom maybe that you have embodied within yourself or something of that nature. What is about to take place in your life? You have the Ace of Wands. Now, Cancer, whenever I see any ace, I feel like that is a direct gift, inspiration, or whatever from the divine himself. And that's what this particular card represents. See the hand coming out of the cloud, handing you this inspiration. You're inspired by all this growth that has happened in the recent past. Whatever this new perspective was, whatever, it's like the universe is going to hand you the inspiration to take that growth out into some kind of venture, whether it's just how you show up in the world, whether it is something that you're going to create and do with it. I don't know. This is a general reading. There's too many of you out there, but it's the universe saying here, we're going to add some inspiration and some passion. Now, it's like a relay race, though. They hand it to you, and then you have to take off and do something with it, right? But before they can hand it off to you, you have to start taking the steps, or else they'll run into you. Have you ever seen a relay race? Like they'll run into you and knock you down because you're not prepared to take that stick and run with it. So, because a lot of times people say, I hear sometimes in the comments, I can't wait for all that stuff to come true. And I get excited when I see it, but I also worry just a little bit because you can't just sit on your couch and wait for it to happen. You have to be prepared. When that relay runner is coming on that track field, when that guy is getting ready to pass that baton, the one he's passing it to has to start running, and then this guy catches up and hands it. So this guy has to be in motion already for this to take place smoothly. Otherwise, this guy's going to knock him down, or knock him down, or he's going to get a wobbly start. He's not going to be able to, it's not going to be a smooth transition. So we have to participate. So whatever it is that we can feel within ourselves is coming, whatever this truth is or whatever, we have to start some type of movement forward, and the universe comes in and says, here you go, and then we can take off with it. They're going to pass you the baton, okay? Your attitude toward all this is the star, okay? So this can be read several different ways. The star card is like the major arcana of the wish fulfillment card. You know, when you wish upon a star, all that, you're wishing upon a star and your wishes come true. So it can be looked at that way, that's your attitude, that you feel like your wishes are coming true or about to come true. The other thing is that you're feeling very balanced in your life right now. This lady's got 1 foot on the ground and 1 foot in the water. So she's got 1 foot in her physical reality, 1 foot in her spirituality. She's got 1 foot in her mental understanding of things and 1 foot in her spiritual understanding of things. She's very balanced, right? And she's like an alchemist too. She transmutes energies. So this is where you are right now. You're feeling very empowered, very, very empowered. The outside influences, is the Five of Pentacles. Now, this could have several different meanings. We're going to go with the obvious one, is that you're feeling a little left out, or perhaps somebody in your experience is feeling a little left out because it's like you don't want to go out and party anymore. You have other things you'd rather do, and they're like, what's up with you? Why don't you want to hang out with us anymore? It could be that. It could be if you're like me and you have grown kids and you're starting this new journey and your kids don't understand, and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about, Mom. You know, sometimes our kids they forget that we raised them and that they lived, you know, that we did a good job raising them. So sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's your siblings. You know, I have siblings right now that, you know, they don't care to talk to me because they don't want to know anything about the tarot. They think it's all evil, blah, 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 all that stuff. I'm okay with that. And so it's like this could be your outside influence, that somebody feels left out or that they make you feel left out in the cold. But it could be that they feel left out in the cold too. The other thing is it could be financial struggle. So whatever it is going on right now, this is an outside influence. This is not of your making. It's just things that are going on around you that cause, it's like that cause and effect thing. It's the way it is. Your hope and fear. Your hope and fear is that you can stand your ground, that you won't feel defensive about all this work you've done. See all these wands? They're coming up like there's a bunch of people down here poking him with these wands, right? And he's got his wand and he's poking back. He's defending himself. He's standing his ground. So this tells me that there's a lot of people, maybe, perhaps, in your life that you want to be able to stand up against, but you don't want to. You don't necessarily want to feel defensive in the process. You just want to be able to stand up for who you are. And your fear is that you might come across defensive. And we don't ever want to come across defensive because then we feel like, you know, there's a right and a wrong. But whenever we can just stand our ground, you know, I can be right, but you can be right too. It's just two different opinions. So you're hoping to be able to stand your ground in whatever this is that you have going on. So your outcome is the Devil. And I'm just going to tell you, Cancer, that earlier I did my own personal reading and I got this outcome. So I asked for clarifiers and I clarified it, and that's what we're going to do for you. Because the Devil energy is all about attachments to earthly things. It could be about addictions. It could be about mental sabotage, different things like that. It's the thing is that none of it really has a hold on us, because if you look at these people, the chains around their necks are not tight. It's kind of loose. They could like slip the noose over off of their head and move out from it. So I'm not real sure why this energy is there. We're going to ask for clarification is what we're going to do. We're going to use the Arcanum Tarot to do that and find out why is the Devil showing up as an outcome, because everything else looks so positive. Perhaps your outcome is that you will free people from earthly attachments, that you will be able to break the chains that bind them. I know that's one of the things that I hope to be able to accomplish sometimes, is to, you know, break us out of the chains that bind us. Most of the time it's our own thoughts. So perhaps that's what this is, but we're going to ask for clarity, Cancer, and find out exactly what it is. Perhaps you're going to use part of your own stories, the demons that you've conquered in your life, to be able to free people. God, guides, angels, archangels, Holy Spirit, show us clearly, why is the Devil showing up as an outcome for Cancer in this reading? Could you please show us a little bit about what you mean about that? You're telling us that they're in a great place. They're waiting on you for divine timing. You're telling us that they've completed a cycle. They're ready for a new cycle. You're telling us they have a message and you're fixing to hand them the inspiration to go along with the message. Show us clearly, what is that outcome card about? King of Cups. Okay, so I feel like that's what this is. The King of Cups is emotionally intelligent. He offers emotional fulfillment to people, right? And inside this cup is a fish splashing around. And a fish is a symbol of new life. So it's almost like this king leads his kingdom by bringing emotional fulfillment and new life to people, right? So with this being your outcome and this being the clarifier, I feel like it's exactly what I said. You're going to be the messenger who comes in very inspired and full of passion about what you do to help people break these chains that bind them. And you're going to offer them new life, a new way of life, a new way of understanding. Not that you're going to say, come home with me, I'm going to offer you a new life at my house. Not that, but to help them break those mental chains that bind them, or whatever it is in their life. And I feel like you're going to use your own story to be able to do that. And this reminds me, gosh, of another reading I did for you, Cancer, not very long ago. And that is whether you were the perpetrator or the victim, your story is important. Because even when we are the perpetrator, and whenever we step back and we understand, whenever we step back and look at things differently and quit blaming others for our bad behavior, and you see me pointing at me, I've done it. And we have this new truth and this new understanding about how things happened, then we can take our stories and go out there and help break other people free of those things that bind them by sharing our own personal stories. So Cancer, I feel like this might be a follow-up to that same group of people that I talked to a week or 2 weeks ago. I don't remember when it was, but the title was something about, if you haven't heard it, go back and listen to it. Whether you were the perpetrator or the victim, your story needs to be told. I think that was the title, something like that. But I feel like this is the same. This is the follow-up. And again, whether you were the perpetrator or the victim, because see, even in that victim mentality, even when we are the victim, we can get caught up in this I want to be careful how I say this. Even when we're the victim, we can hold on to that victim identity to the point that it causes resentment to grow within us, and it causes unforgiveness, resentment, anger, and it actually doesn't do anything except stymie our own growth. Okay? So even as the victim, your story needs to be told to be able to offer other victims the opportunity to understand how we grow through things, and how forgiveness is so important. So I feel like that's the message, is that it's like you've done a lot of work and you're waiting to see the results, whether you have done the work for forgiveness, or if you were the perpetrator and you did the work of self-forgiveness and understanding why you do or did the things that you did, to be able to move past it and to become a better version of yourself. Whichever way it was, I feel like that is the message. Um, and if it doesn't resonate with you on that level, but it resonates on some other level, that's great, because it's a general reading. So this part is just really making me think of that group and that last message. So, okay, we're going to pull an oracle card. I'm adding this new card, a new pull from this deck to this reading, because it's a deck of oracle cards that I got that I really like. I don't know them very well yet, so I will be reading from the book, but it's Colette Baron Reid, The Enchanted Map. So God, guides, angels, archangels, Holy Spirit, show us clearly an oracle message for this group of Cancer friends that you're talking to today. Show us clearly what is it that, what is the extra message from the oracle that they can hold on to or gain from in this Enchanted Map deck. Oh, okay, so I got this one. Somebody else got this one. I got this one. Somebody else got this one. So this is the number 7 in this deck, and it's called Into the Unknown. So, and it is kind of scary, right? Whenever we're waiting on the divine, because it's unknown when it's going to take place. It's unknown when it's going to come to fruition. There's a lot of unknowns whenever we work with our spirit team. So we're going to read what this card actually says. It says, trust, and all will be revealed. So life is an adventure, and often new opportunities will arise that you won't know how to deal with. This is one of those times you're required to trust that this new phase will reveal wonders and miracles as you step into unknown territory. Imagine that you are not only a pathfinder, but a path maker. Whatever your inquiry, trust that you'll be safe. Stay aware as you discover new and marvelous territories and valuable treasures. Okay, so I feel like this has a lot to do with, again, that same message. And it could have a lot to do with other stuff too, but he's having to trust right now. He's done his work, and now he's having to trust for when it's going to fall off the tree, for when it's going to come to fruition. He has to trust that even though he himself, and this is not gender specific, but even though he himself or others might feel left out, he has to trust that this is actually, that he is actually doing what he is supposed to be doing. And he has to trust, again, whether the victim or the perpetrator, that whenever he goes out and tells his story, that chains really do break and people are freed. If this is your desire, if this is your inspiration and your passion, you know, it's scary to make yourself vulnerable. It's scary to tattletale on yourself if you're the perpetrator. And whenever I say tattletale on yourself, I'm talking about that you have come to an understanding about what happened, that you've healed from it, and that now you can speak about it from an intelligent place and provoke thought in a way to help other people who possibly perpetrate those same things, help them to stop and evaluate themselves so they can break themselves free from the chains that bind them. And if you're the victim, same thing, that you have gone through your healing process and that you've been able to step back and look at it from a different perspective and be able to articulate what happened in a way that guess what, you're not really a victim, that this did happen to you, but you're certainly not anybody's victim. But instead, you are an overcomer, and you can help other people overcome also. So those are the kinds of messages that really help free people from the chains that bind them and cause them to be attached to things like unforgiveness and resentment and anger, or cause them to self-medicate with alcohol or drugs or anything like that. So yeah, I feel like this is very, very appropriate in this reading because it is scary, especially for this same group that I spoke to a couple weeks ago. It is definitely scary, but to walk out into the unknown and say, this is what happened, but this is how I grew from it. And what does it apply in your life? Provoke thought, because usually the human race is very smart. And if we can just provoke thought, then our brothers and sisters, the other people in our human race can figure it out. If we can just provoke thought, sometimes that's all it takes is a different way to think about it, and then they can move forward. Then those chains are gone. Okay, I'm gonna stop preaching. I was thinking earlier this was going to be a really short reading, but Source always knows what cards are coming up when and what's going to need to be talked about. So now we're looking for the PS. God, guides, angels, archangels, Holy Spirit, we thank you for this message for our Cancer friends. We ask you to give us the PS. Show us now if there's an additional message, or if you have confirmation, or whatever it is you want to say. It's your message. Give us the PS. And we thank you for clear and concise messages. Okay. Let's see what we got here. They're showing that you have a choice to make. Okay. So, and it's not going to be an easy choice because you're not sure of the outcome. So that's very appropriate and kind of goes with this right here, is that your choice is to trust, or that is one of your choices, just to trust. Your other choice is to hang on to what it is that you're protecting right here in your heart. So you can either hang on or you can trust and move forward, but it's scary because you can't see the outcome, right? I'm sorry that my hands, it is like chilly right here in Southwest Louisiana this morning. Okay, so the Knight of Swords, the Knight of Wands is your next card. So that's like, this is saying that, that Source, God, the guides, the angels, they feel like whenever you get this, you're going to run with it. You're going to move forward with it. You're going to take that wand and you're going to take inspired action in a passionate way and go out and bring whatever this is that you've got going on into the world. And you know what? Your story can be in the form of a book. It can be in the form of a movie. It can be in the form of a song, a poem, poetry. I mean, anything. But your message is meant to free other people from the chains that bind them. So, I feel like that whenever they hand you that inspiration, hand you that next step, you're going to be already in motion, like on the guy on the track field running the relay race, so that whenever they hand you that baton, you're going to be able to keep running, and it's going to be a smooth transition. Wow. And there is the Three of Swords, which I don't even have to clarify in this particular reading because it's evident to me that this is about some kind of hurt. And you know what? I'm going to tell you right now, there's so many people out there in the world hurting, that, and they're hurting because of betrayal and heartbreak, because we have expectations of people, and there's just so many different reasons that we suffer heartbreak. And it is a serious issue in our earthly realm. That's another thing that this represents, is the 3D world. So it's a very serious issue out there, that there's a lot of people dealing with heartbreak. So whenever you've got a story to tell, whenever you have healed and you have come past something and overcome something, then then you can take that heartbreak, that betrayal that you walked through, and you can literally unchain other people and free them from that same kind of heartbreak. Cancer, I mean, I'm telling you, this is some kind of it's like they're reiterating that message from the other day. I don't remember the whole message. I just remember that the story, I think that was the title. Your story is so important. And I feel like they're just saying it again. Cancer, your story is so important. Okay, listen, thank you so much for the subscribes, the likes, the shares, all that stuff. If you're not a subscriber and this has resonated with you, please do so. Subscribe, like, share, hit the little notification thingy, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a super duper day. Bye.